Ready to go when you are.
We are?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go.
Well, good. Hi, I'm Graham Kilshaw, and I'm very excited to welcome to the Waldom Executive Series Fred Bell from Molex. Good morning, Fred.
Morning, Graham.
So, for people that don't know you, please, could you introduce yourself? Who is Fred Bell?
Sure. My name is Fred Bell. I work with Molex Incorporated. I've been with Molex coming up on 39 years here in about 2 weeks.
Wow.
Graduated from the University of Illinois back in the day, and they recruited me out of the campus, and I've been there ever since.
First job ever, out of
First
college,
job ever.
one company.
Yeah.
That's pretty rare these days.
It is. I think it used to be a badge of honor. Now I'm not so sure anymore. It seems like people like to jump around to a lot of different companies, but Molex has offered me a lot of opportunities over the years. I've relocated. I've traveled the world over, so it's been a really exciting ride.
Wow, that's quite an impressive career.
Thank you.
So if we talk about the last couple of years, what a wild ride, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
should say.
For somebody who's been in one industry, one company for 39 years, if you look at what happened to us during the pandemic period of supply chain, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, can you think back to any time in your career that you could compare to what happened in the last couple of years? It was a pretty dramatic episode, right?
Yeah, I mean, it has been a crazy couple of years. And the only thing I can really compare it to would be around the turn of the century with the dot-com bust
Right.
and the Y2K scare.
Y2K.
We had a lot of fluctuations in the market. Companies went from being Fortune 100 companies to really being out of business. So
Yep.
I think that's probably the closest thing. But even then, it wasn't anything what we're experiencing now with supply chain issues and whatnot, price increases, material shortages and whatnot.
Right. And how does 2023 look right now for Molex?
I think that 23, we're still seeing a lot of inventory in the channel as well as at the end customers. So we are seeing slowdowns
Sure.
in orders. Our inventory in our channel is up 35% over what it was a year ago. And between the beginning of this year and now, it hasn't changed a whole lot. What that's telling me is the A and B items are still moving, but it's some of the products that are built specially for a customer are not because of that inventory.
Yeah.
So I think that we'll probably see the rest of this year pretty much be slow from a demand standpoint from our supplying to the distributors. But I think the distributors are still going to see some growth this year because their end customers still have demand.
And everybody's talking about uncertainty in the market. Is that the conversation you're hearing from customers? That they're not really sure what the second half looks like? And can you characterize the uncertainty?
Yeah, I think we're looking for that next pop-up. When are we going to bottom out? And I've heard people say we're going to bottom out this quarter.
Yeah.
I've heard people say we're going to bottom out in Q3. I've even heard Q4. And I heard today that we might not see the OEM inventory change until the end of 24. So I think there's just a lot of unknown and a lot of guessing. I think if we all knew what was going to happen, I think we'd probably be sitting on Wall Street and making a lot of money. So there's a lot of unknown, and I think we're just hopefully not trying to take the downturn too seriously because as soon as it turns around, we'll be back in high demand and probably end up having allocations and expedites to get inventory back and get product back into inventory.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hearing too. I think everybody's has this level of uncertainty for the second half, but it doesn't look dire. It doesn't look like the specter of recession is there, but I don't think anybody's really thinking this is going to be a major problem if it does happen. What are you hearing?
I agree, and I think that this is going to be a snapshot in time.
Yeah.
I really believe, again, that there's demand out there, and we just got to get the inventory out the door and process so we can kind of get back to normal business conditions.
Yeah, roll on 24, right?
Exactly.
Roll on 24. So let's talk a little bit about the Molex relationship with Waldom, because this is pretty special.
It is.
And you just shared with us that you've been at Molex almost 39 years. And before we started the interview today, you shared something very interesting with me about your day one at Molex. Do you want to share that with our viewers?
Sure. Actually, Waldom is our oldest distributor. The original contract was signed by our late founder, John Craybill Sr. We've got a copy of it somewhere. And he signed that contract about 45 years ago. And when I first started my first day, my first actual afternoon at Molex, I had my first conference call with Waldom. Molex is located outside Chicago, and at that time, Waldom was located near Midway Airport.
Okay.
So we had a lot of engagement with them to support our distributors and our customers. And so, yeah, I've worked with those guys since day one.
So you were physically located close to each other?
Absolutely, yes.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So Molex really was customer number one for Waldom.
I think so.
Yeah. So what an amazing history together. So, Fred, I'm not a distribution guy. Everybody who knows me knows I'm not a distribution guy. I'm a marketing guy. So, but there are some really unique concepts, I think, in what Waldom does that I don't think everybody fully understands. So I'm hoping today you can sort of help me peel a couple of these things apart and help people to understand what are these programs, and more importantly, why has Molex been doing this for 39 years? Clearly something good's going on there. So let's start with master distribution. We see the tagline from Waldom, the distributor's distributor. What is that, and why is it so important to Molex?
All of our distributors have a certain amount of inventory, and they manage that inventory based on what they need for their customers. Waldom has a lot of products in their inventory that not all of our distributors carry. So it's a very effective way for our distributors to have product basically at their fingertips to meet quick demands from their customers. And so what we do with Waldom is we really manage their inventory in a way that makes sure that it turns, but it meets the demands of our distributors out there in the marketplace. So we work with Waldom on managing what their products are, and they go from A to Z. I mean, we have products that are for the industrial world all the way up to the high-tech computer industry that Waldom manages for us. So it works really well for us because it's typically not the A and B movers, it's the C, D, and E movers that they're really managing for us with their distributors.
Do you have any way of quantifying the value of that to a company like Molex?
Well, what we see is it really helps our efficiencies. And so I can tell you that from our side, we don't really want to make small runs.
Sure.
So Waldom will come in and they'll say, hey, we'll buy 18 months worth of your demand on this product, put it in inventory, and that way when those customers come to us, we just move them over to Waldom versus trying to fit in a small run in a manufacturing plant, which quite honestly it's just not made for, which becomes a dissatisfier for everyone, and it becomes an expedite for everyone as well.
Right. So I think that leads nicely into their long tail service, because I think that's where you're sort of headed here.
Exactly.
So can you explain for us what is long tail? Why is it important?
Well, we sat down with Waldom many years ago and said, look, we've got these parts that we don't have huge demands. We've got many customers that buy it in small volume. Would you be willing to take these parts and put them into your inventory so when we get an order, the system blocks it so we don't take the order by mistake, and when it's blocked, it comes up and says these are available from Waldom only, and we move the orders or move the demand over to Waldom.
Got it. So it's really a manufacturing efficiency, would you say?
Absolutely.
You know, you have your C and D items that you don't want to shut down the plant just to have to manufacture C and D. You run it once, give it to Waldom, and that's it, right?
Right, and then we have certain reorder points for them, so to make sure that they don't run out of inventory.
Of course.
And it's really worked very seamlessly. I've not had issue one, knock on wood, with any of our customers not having the product available through Waldom. So it really works well for us, and we continue to grow it.
Right. So let's talk about excess inventory. I've been working with Waldom for about a year, and this part of their business just fascinates me, and I'm wondering why more companies, more suppliers are not taking advantage of this. So let's start out with a quick explanation. What is the Waldom excess inventory program, and how does Molex use it?
So I'll say we have two excess inventory programs with Waldom. The first one is our excess inventory.
Okay.
So there are times where we run over. Somebody orders X amount of parts and we have more material, so we run the material through the machine, and whatever we have left over is excess. It's not huge amounts, but it adds up. And so
that's an extra element then, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then what we'll do is we'll move it over to Waldom, and then when Waldom sells that product to an end customer or to a distributor to an end customer, we split the proceeds.
Nice.
Which has been very effective for us. And our plants utilize the Waldom program quite a bit. In fact, I just have a new plant coming online. Just last week I got a call from them saying, hey, we'd like to engage with Waldom. We've got some excess inventory. So it's always growing, always changing. It's super efficient. It is really very efficient. And then the other program we work with them is when we have slow and excess or scrap products at our distributors, which then they send those back to Waldom. Waldom QCs them and makes sure that they have the right date code and they weren't damaged in shipping. They put those into inventory, and then they offer those again out to the channel, and then as those products are sold, we split the proceeds again.
Right.
So it's a very effective way to keep It's green. It keeps product out
Sure.
of holes in the ground. You know, they want to fill with garbage.
Yep.
And it effectively again services a part of the market today that we don't.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's a natural solution to a problem that everybody in the industry experiences. In an inventory-based business, there's going to be excess.
Yeah.
What do you do with it? Nobody wants to throw it in a landfill right now.
No, not at all.
And that's an increasing pressure for all brands, not just big brands like Molex, right, of course.
Right.
So they take the excess inventory back from the distributors, they redistribute it, resell it, and you share the profits on it.
Right.
Can you put a number on that for us?
Yeah, in the last 2 years, Waldom has, written Molex a check for over $17 million. So and that goes right to the bottom line, by the way.
$17 million.
That's all been written off, so that goes right to our bottom line.
And that would have been $17 million that went to the landfill, right?
Exactly.
There's one way to look at it, right?
Sure, right, yeah.
$17 million in bottom line. And what's the effort on your part to make that happen with Waldom?
Well, we work with our franchise distributors
Yeah.
to when we give them their scrap rebate check, they then move the product over to Waldom. So
Is it a difficult process?
no, not really.
Right.
I think like everything, once you start it, there's some hiccups along the way because people are doing things new. But once it's in place, it runs pretty efficiently.
Nice. What a great program.
It really is.
So what's going through my head, Fred, is, and I wonder if you've got any thoughts on this, why isn't everybody doing it?
I think it's new, and I think whenever there's new and it's change, there's a lot of nervousness, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of, wait, this seems too good to be true type of mentality.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, like I said, we jumped on it right away. We saw the value and we sat down, and of course, like anything, you crawl, walk, run. So we started to crawl, and then as it became successful and we saw the benefits of it, we now are jumped in.
So how long have you been using the Waldom Excess Inventory Program?
Since its inception, so it's probably been now maybe 8 years.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Do you see any bars there for any other suppliers that are watching this and thinking, maybe I need to jump in on this? Is it difficult to get that program started, or is there any challenges in getting into that?
No, not really. I think they're from our side, we wanted to have some checkpoints on the way to make sure that it was running the way we wanted it to run, and there wasn't some unintended consequences, which I think we all worry about. You do something over here, and then something bad happens over there.
Yeah.
And to this point so far, we haven't had this bad is happening over here. It's all been positive.
Are you seeing increases in those returns on this program for you? Is it pretty stable?
We are. No, it increases every year for a couple of reasons. One, as distributors sell more product, they get a higher scrap rebate from us, which creates more opportunities for them to return more product to Waldom. And so I think we're looking at a 5-year return that's been pretty significant. We sell a lot of products and over a 5-year period. So it doesn't happen in year one when they go to Waldom. It takes a little while for them to get all the inventory sold. And meanwhile, you're still putting more inventory back in place to replace the inventory that was moved down.
17 million, huh?
Yeah,
not too shabby. Hey, Fred, thanks for being with us today. Thanks for explaining these programs. I'm sure a lot of people are sort of watching this and are appreciative, because it's not always clear to everybody what these unique programs are that Waldom offers. So very grateful to you. Thanks very much,
My pleasure,
Fred.
Graham. It's good to
Last quick question.
Yeah.
Summer's coming. Any travel plans?
Yeah, well, actually, my son lives down in Florida.
Nice.
So we're heading to Florida here probably in the next couple of months. So we're going to go down there. We got 4 little grandsons, so we miss them. So I think we're going to go down there sometime in July.
Wonderful. Well, I hope you have a great summer.
Great. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Fred.
Thank you.